Hello. Okay, so you're bitching. I know when you're bitching. Because Sabrina has a photo and Beanie went and doctored the photo up. So I know. It is only fair to give Hillary another similar, same reading. But here's the problem. Okay? Having read the Mad magazines, because if we read straight information about the Democrat Party, you just become another. So, here's what I'm going to say. From the bottom of my heart, I wouldn't be going through all this. The problem is that in order for this to work, I have to wait for my early stage HPV test to come back. I know I have early stages of it because the man that I was with and then the ex-husband I was with did not use condoms. I have really bad, if you're looking at my hair, it's because I burnt out my hair really bad with all the hair dyeing. It's called fast processing. It's something that in Hollywood you don't want to do. So that's a telltale sign if you're doing too many movies at once and you're trying to get shunned out. It's what they used to do. That's an old person's piece of information. That being said, can you win? Yes, you can. Everybody's sitting there and they're all saying, what can we do to get different parties into the office to fix things? Okay. The problem is there's a word in the book that I'm reading here. I'm all for this type of government, but we have problems with the wives holding on to this one photo that my sister has doctored up, which is called the collar and the leash. Okay? It does change a lot of lives. It does. And with everything not being regulated, like I had said, you can't trust the formula. You don't know if it's got traces of CBD. When you have a food allergy, you have to worry about trace amounts because it depends on how sensitive you are. So I couldn't even have white chocolate, even though there was 0% calcium, which is milk sugar calcium, which is what you read on the nutrition label. Okay, this all comes with chemistry, all comes with AP chemistry. There's a lot to it, and everybody thinks, well, chemistry is just in the book. No, not when you have everybody not wanting to go to the doctors because the doctors are jacking up their prices or changing their methods so this way they can generate income to feed their family. Doctors weren't like that back in the days. Most of the times, the doctor would kind of hesitate to get married because that means that the wife would take them away from their practices, which is always true. It's always true. So Hillary, it's two major changes of events in order for you to get into the White House. If I can read this book within the next month, given everything going crazy right now, and get into another book that's another Russian manuscript, you do have a higher chance. The problem is that you can't guarantee everybody's going to remember once we go back to December 19, 2015. You have to get enough people to remember in order to start scaling the votes back. If we scale the votes back too much, oh my God, is that going to create a problem for a lot of people that are on CBD? Because with Trump, everything's fair game because that's what they used to do in Playboy Mansion. They started that whole thing. It was, trust me, if I were to be, I swear to God, that's why I'm waiting on the test, because if the test comes back completely clean, I can actually recreate the whole Playboy Mansion pyramid scheme from year 1, which is technically year 0, all the way up to year 4, which is technically year 3, because it depends on how you follow the scale. I can recreate it. It's not the biggest deal ever. You start off with something minute like nails, and then all of a sudden it becomes CBD. We'll have her have this, keep this one sober, keep that one. It can be all recreated in a single streamline. It's not that hard. But the problem is that you all are fixated saying that there has to be a vote. That's Ted Cruz. You're over here saying the country's in shit. We're constantly revolving through, and you're running through the damn door in a circular motion, laughing your ass off too when you do this. In your most expensive fucking silk. You can't do it in the cheap silk, and you won't do it in your finest fucking pajama pants either. This was my sister's doing. She was punishing me because she says, Clinton sided with Dole. And I said, Clinton did not side with Dole. Dole caught on and Dole walked the fuck away from Clinton. And he kept went after Dole, like Lindsay does with McCain. But John, but Bob, that's how we got into the Veggie Tales. It wasn't Madam Blueberry. It was the fucking fight. My sister wanted to know. I said, hold on, let me find a GG rated. GG? Okay, GG, I'll wait. She did. She closed it up like Christian Clemenson because that was the hottest guy she's seen next to Bob. So it was like, I'll wait. So I did. In 15 minutes, I created it. No different than like Rob Lowe did with the speech in West Wing. I created it for her. She said, now I get it. Bob had a schlong and Larry went after it. It was her. She understood it. I didn't understand it because I'm still all Vulcan. Remember, Vulcans don't like that. They lose a little bit of their pointedism. And that was it. So yes, you can win. You actually can win. There is enough momentum and ammunition to fire through if you want to change the Democrat debate floor and then the presidential campaign floor. You don't want to do it because I'm not a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I get that. But you're over here saying we can't keep going through. You have to change the floor. You don't change the floor. You don't get somebody in office to show the flaws of him, meaning Trump, then you don't have the ability to get the advantage. So it kind of sucks. I know I have the worst fucking haircut. I swear to God, I won't get it cut until after the new year because I'm too sick. And then with all the test kits coming in, I just want to start off fresh afterwards, somebody and everything. You have to prove it. You actually have to prove it because it's no different than proving a military tactic. And y'all are yelling at me because I picked Navy. Do you understand why I picked Navy? Because Carter is a chemist that went in Navy. When a chemist goes in Navy, that means they're a fucking genius. They're a genius. And the way you run a nuclear submarine, it's not like, a typical, like 9 to 5, 8 to 4 job. Okay, no problems, Bob. No problems. We'll dock. Give us 2 hours, we'll dock. We'll get you home to Susie. Okay? We know she's making a lot of food for you. It's not that. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not like that. It's like the little mini CIA floating building throughout the 7 seas and the oceans. Okay? When we like to travel, we just don't like to sit still because we're surrounded by octopi and squids and all that stuff. They like to float. They like to float and wander. Okay? And I know I'm getting punished by Jimmy because I told him to sit still for 8 weeks in bed until the gravitational pull of the earth settled, because he was like, oh, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna beat it. I told you I was gonna go all out because this was the worst fucking payoff in hiring bounty hunters. It was just the worst. It wasn't even Star Wars. It was just, you could just brutally tell this woman does not want to lose a battle. And it's against the law. It really is. We did it a long time ago and I got shot for it. And everybody paid the price, which is the Bambi Dianetics. So, like I said, you can win, but you gotta break the rules. The Democrats can break the rules. It's still a Democrat nation. It's not a Republican nation. It hasn't changed over to that type of government. And trust me, anybody that ran for a Republican office for the presidency, they can still practice Democrat government. It's just that you have to find a state that's prime rib ready. It's not anything like, well, I'll just go into this state and try it out. No, there are states you can't even get into. I mean, Pennsylvania, I've always pointed that one out. You can't fuck up that book. You can't fuck up. You actually have to get an invitation from the state to come and work. And it was obvious. It was completely obvious because I couldn't even get through to get into the other 2 states. And y'all with Lindsey Graham, I'm going to shoot him. I swear to God, it's coming from love. It's love when I say I'm going to shoot you. It is, because You have lied so bad and gotten this man, this other candidate so much into just having to pull all his magic cards out. It's not even funny. You're not even Star Wars. We should just, you really are. You're like Luke Skywalker. We just want to stick a lightsaber in you from the Death Star.
Sync has connected.
It's not a bad thing. You're freaking out. You're hiring all these secretaries. You're fucking all these secretaries. You're still fucking all these prostitutes that you picked out in Europe. And it's just like, what for? What for? And you can't say that I'm lying because I did that stunt. And then I did other stunts afterwards. So it wasn't like, stunt number one, could you repeat it? No, we have repeated it. This time we can't repeat it. Y'all wanted an answer from me. I'm giving you the answer on the Democrat side. I'm not giving Trump the answer. Trump knows what the problem is. We can't voice it because if we voice it, then it becomes more of that side of the government. And I really don't care for it because all I have to do is read the other Upton Sinclair book. Okay? It's not hard to read Queen Elizabethan English writing. It's difficult to read American writing because why? It's still unregulated thinking. Queen Elizabeth, Queen of Scots writing, writers, it wasn't unregulated. It was regulated. It is what it is. Okay. This book by Jack Ryan has every bad writing technique against the English writing. Every bad. It's actually all the American writing techniques. Okay. So yes, it is going to read very political. Very political. Oh, yes. And it has to be in a Russian manuscript because that is probably the language I should be speaking and probably what's going to come back in the test. Because there's a little pattern, which is called a genetic biology pattern. Okay. If your eyes are trained to see something, no different than a vulture trained to see a carcass, you're not going to see, a cattle start eating carcass, or their eyes are not trained to do that. The vulture's eyes are trained to do that. Chipmunk is going to go after what it's going to do. It's not going to eat a carcass. It's not trained to do that. Like, give me a break. Okay? Think correct. You're going to find out it's going to work out. Y'all are tied to a textbook that isn't even regulated. You don't even know who wrote it. It's a bunch of people that got a whole bunch of money and said, we'll make it look good. We'll pat it and we'll make it look good. Okay? We'll pat it and make it look. It's just a little baby in a brand new diaper. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. So, yes, that's your fair reading. So, yes, it's two major critical events that have to take place. You have to prove that type of, it's a word within the first chapter. You'll find it. You guys have been practicing it. You'll find it. You have to prove it, though. Michigan has the ability to prove it and get rid of all these people that don't belong in these states because they use the American Visa card argument. Which other states don't do. Which is why we have such high political social issues and political mouthing off. So, you guys aren't regulating. You guys are not doing anything. That's fine. We're just going to keep going through it. We're going to keep going through it. You're not going to be happy. You're not going to be able to get that nice little outfit you want. You're going to purchase it and be like, there's just nothing there to purchase it because we can't even get to that point. You see it. I see it too. But what do you want me to do? You want me to become Jafar? You won't even let me become Jafar because you got to deal with the whole fucking plateau of platforms. I mean, it is. It's a headache. If it was Trump versus Hillary and Hillary had the correct steps in motion, put it all in motion, yeah, I think I'm going to switch over my vote this time around because I know for a fact Trump just said, fuck it, she's crazy. I know he did. He doesn't want to go back to those days. And I don't care. He can fucking rot in hell for all I care. He can fucking rot in hell. But, yeah, I do have a routine. It's very strict. Especially when I have narrowed out everything and my mother's starting to do the no white dairy diet. Hopefully it'll stay through when we get through. We'll see. So, but that's your fair reading. It has to be. If you want to know more, let me get through this book and let me see how comfortable I feel, because to tell it now, the Republicans are just going to block it, and you have no growth, and that's not fair to you. I'm being sweet. I'm being very sweet. I have never bothered the Clintons. My sister, big time Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton supporter, she does love you, but she does have to go with the general population, because that was what she said is the correct Democrat thinking. I really wish she would just embrace the Vulcan in her instead of the Romulan, and it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess right now. It's a hot mess. But that is your fair reading. I know which states. It's 2 states. I know which correct people. It is 2 correct people. They are sitting on the sidelines. You know who they are. If you can get, and you guys can. What cracks me up is you guys can do anything. Who is this? I'll deal with you later. Leave a message. So, those are the correct thinking. Okay. You guys can do anything. You can get rid of the government textbook and say the country's got to get fixed. We're fixing it. The Democrats can do that. The Republicans will not give up that textbook, because that's the last thing that keeps their secrets from being put out. So it is National Enquirer versus correct mindset, correct thinking, or in other words, the old Death Star. So the Democrats know what the old Death Star is. They're trying to bring it back, and they can't, because we have the fucking Starship Destroyer and the little fucking catfish ship that's floating around. So just, you can eliminate all that. You can say, we're going to do it brand new. We know what we're going through. And for those of us that recognize it, we'll vote. But the problem is if Trump says it and has a plan, now you have to do double the amount of work, because you know he's just going to sit on it and gather more of the other companies' psychics and make it really obvious he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Okay? Because I'm pretty sure Hillary Clinton has a very good soothsaying eye. Okay? Very good. I mean, I wouldn't be able to handle such a prestigious affair marriage if you didn't have that eye. Okay? All right? I mean, really, you didn't even have the other admirals, have to stick out their hand and say, do you need a hand? Do you need any of that? I'm pretty sure you did what you had to do, and you knew it was going to be correct. So, like I said, that's your fair reading. I only do it one time. If you have to replay it, if you have to listen to previous songs I listened to, if you have to look at people, sit down with, you do what you got to do. But it's one time. It's one time. And it's still Naked Gun. And that's all you have to say to get rid of him. It is. It's Naked Gun, because he doesn't have a fucking clue how exposed he got. And it's really bad. It is. So, good luck to you. We're going to try to go through this. Remember, we have infinite amount of tries and attempts. So, even if you do a good chunk of correct stepping through, and you only get so far, it just means you got to figure out now what else needs to be chopped, chiseled, or just blown out of the way. I'm gonna say missile blown out of the way. Okay, because we like missile talking. So I'm gonna say have a good one. I'm busy over here at our Death Star in Michigan.